We're rolling. So, welcome to the DIY Toycast. I'm your host, Gordon, here with my co-host, Brett, and this
Yo.
evening we're joined by our guest, the Knobbywood. Um, so, thanks for joining us. For people who aren't familiar already from like your Twitch streams or other illustration work that you've done, tell us a little bit about yourself and what sort of work you're doing, what projects you got going on right now.
Hello, I'm the Knobbywood. I do retro gaming Twitch streams that meld art and gaming together, where I take little doodle breaks and draw suggestions from chat based on the enemies and NPCs that we meet. I do a little freelance stuff on the side for indie video game designers, toy designers, pretty much anybody that's like, hey man, I need some illustration. So uh, that's me, I guess, in
Yeah,
a
and you
nutshell.
you've done some awesome stuff for us recently. Like you
Mhm.
did the Goblin Toy Forge logo.
Mhm.
You did some awesome illustration work for Brett's Veil Gas, some for the new Sofubi that we got coming.
Mhm.
You did a very cool
That one's
colorway
so
that
cool. It's so
inspired
cool
me to
looking.
actually go back and like paint the
Oh yeah, yeah,
prototype
yeah. I know. I
in the
saw
full
those pics.
colors.
Those were amazing. I love it.
So I'd be curious, how did you get into this stuff? Were you someone who was always drawing as a kid? Do you have any like formal artistic training or
Yeah, so as far I think my mom has a watercolor I did when I was like she said I was like 2, but I'm sure I was like
oh
3 or
hell yeah.
4 or something like that. But it was of one of these little motherfuckers over here. Excuse my can I say
Yes,
anything?
we
Yeah.
Okay.
curse. We
No,
do curse
Yeah.
on the
it was
pod.
it was
Yeah.
the
You
Ninja
could speak about
Turtles.
the mutants like that way. Yeah, that's
Right,
good.
yeah. Raph specifically, because it was red. And she kind of put the bug in my ear and was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so good. Like you're young and you I can tell that's a Ninja Turtle." And so that kind of lit a fire in me. And from then, like my cousin showed me how to draw a Ninja Turtle his way and then so on and so forth. And it kind of expanded from there. And yeah, the video games and art thing has always been kind of in my DNA as well, because growing up in the late 80s and 90s, like they came with these amazing manuals that had like all this super cool art and stuff. And so I'd like just be, you'd ride home and like you'd be flipping through that box art and all the
Mhm.
manual art and stuff, and you just get super jazzed on it. And a buddy of mine was always like the guy that had all the consoles, and he was always
Okay.
getting the new games as they were coming out. So I would just be kind of like mooching off of him by just like hanging out watching him play, and he
Mhm.
would like be playing the games and I'd be drawing like the stuff in the manual, especially Super Metroid. Oh my gosh, like all of
Mhm.
that stuff was blowing me away. So yeah, like it's always been kind of like hand in hand, like, well, I'm really inspired by this video game. Let me draw this, or
Mhm.
and like the kind of part of my evolution, if you will. So um from there, I got really into cartoons and
Mhm.
animation. So after high school, I went to the now defunct Art Institute of Atlanta and lost a lot of money to them. But in doing so, I met a lot of cool people and learned a lot of stuff. I was a little too impatient. I never actually got my like degree or anything
Mhm.
like that. I only made it about a year into it. It was just sort of they which is like the right way to do it. They want to give you the foundational stuff, but I was just like, oh, I'm a little no, I was 18. I knew everything, right?
Right.
Right.
I had figured everything out.
Mhm.
I had already mastered my craft. So no, I was an idiot first out of my parents' house, and just
Mhm.
very naive to the world. So didn't quite work out or pan out for me, but I met a lot of cool people and learned a lot of stuff from doing the more advanced homework. Like one of them specifically, I remember it was like, hey, you need to do a choreographed lightsaber fight with stick
Oh,
figures. And
cool.
I'm like, that
Mhm,
sounds awesome. Can I do
mhm.
that? And they're like, yeah, let's do that. So we had worked on it together and he got the grade. But whatever. Like I got the experience, he got the grade. That's all that really matters. So and then after college, it was just taking odd jobs here and there, open
Mhm,
up an Instagram, post stuff on there. I got into pixel art for a little bit, and that kind of like gave me a little bit of a more of a following with the video game stuff. And then from there, Jesse kind of plucked me out of nowhere,
mhm.
and he was like, "Hey, I got some drawings for these action figures I'm doing that are video game style. Do you want to?" That's not just that's my Jesse right
That sounds
No,
that's
no,
a
no,
convincing
that's
Jesse.
no, that's
there.
fair. Extremely accurate. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're not convinced, go back and watch the episode with him.
Yeah.
It's spot on.
No, one to
You're
one.
you're welcome, Jesse. Sorry I bastardized your voice like that. Anyway, but yeah, he had me do some Radic stuff,
Mhm.
and I was like, "Ooh, I gotta dig those out," and I actually have some of the
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
right on.
OG pics I did for him and stuff like that.
Super
So
sick.
they were a lot of fun. Um, and yeah, so from there, he's just kind of off and on gave me jobs doing comic books and
Mhm.
little card illustrations and stuff like that. He was really good about helping like smaller designers and illustrators and stuff like that doing and bigger ones like just
Yeah.
bringing them all together. So yeah, and just kind of been floating around in and out doing that. Started doing the streaming thing maybe 2 years ago, like
Okay.
trying it out on TikTok, and then they had that like ban scare, whatever it
Mhm.
was, and I was like, fuck that, that's unreliable. So I jumped over to Twitch.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been a real
So,
big fan of what you've been doing with the Earthbound series. You were just doing
Thank
a
you.
playthrough of that. That's good stuff.
Yeah, no, the Earthbound is an amazing game. It came out in '93, and I think I realized why I missed it. If you go watch the commercial for the game, it's so boring and lame. It's literally just like a
Not
couple
even
of kids
remotely close to
walking
being fun.
across this
Yeah.
screen, and it's like Earthbound, save the world, and you're like, whatever. And Donkey Kong Country came out at the same time too, so it was like, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
and
go
you
play
had
that.
and then like if you wanted RPGs, you had Final Fantasy VI out at the time
And
and Chrono
matter of
Trigger.
fact, I never, so I saw Final Fantasy VI, and I have maybe played like 30 minutes of it. I like went through a little cave and met a Moogle. That
Oh
is the
man.
game I'm starting on Monday.
oh,
So I'm
Let's
going to be
nice.
go.
streaming. Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
watch as much as I can. It's my favorite RPG ever.
I am excited. It's kind of a blind playthrough because I've never like really played through
Yeah.
it, but I've seen a lot of clips of people playing it, and I've seen a lot of
Yeah.
memes and shit like that, and the Magic the Gathering cards and all that. So
Oh yeah. No, it's fantastic. Everyone loves seven. That's definitely Square's baby, but
yeah,
I think six is the best story.
seven is what got me into it. So that's
yeah,
it was the first like RPG, or it was the first video game really that like got me on a visceral level to the point where I was like literally crying about the characters and stuff. Like
right.
it's spoilers. No, no, it's guys, it's been come on. Aerith dies. I didn't know you could do that in video games. And like she was the one I was romancing and all that because I'm like, she's the good girl, she's the good one, right? Like Tifa's kind of a badass. That's cool. That's for somebody else, right? But yeah, it hit me viscerally, and that's what turned me on to JRPGs in general. And so, I'm so sad that I missed out on Earthbound, but I'm so glad I got to do it now after all the experience and like doodling my journey through. It is kind of like a doodle journal in a sense. Like
Right.
Mhm.
that's kind of what the zines are, is sort of like kind of my love letter to Nintendo Power, but also just sort of a chronicling of these games that I'm playing through, which is it's a lot of fun. I've been going back through some of them, and like I did all of uh the Metroid series, or all the 2D Metroid series,
Mhm.
and played through them.
Nice.
And yeah, just so much fun. That one, I wasn't like doing the actual sprite art. I was just drawing the bosses as I was beating them. I called them like
Hmm.
a sketch and slay or a slay. I don't know. I had some stupid dumb name it. It's just to be able to highlight it and put it in a
Mhm.
YouTube short kind of thing. But It's been fun, man. It's I don't know. I have some of my own original stuff, original characters and things like that, and I love doing those and I love coming up with them. But something about playing video games and drawing like my own interpretation of like sprite art and old pixel art and something like that just kind of brings out the kid in me. It's the nostalgia and all that tied to it, and it's just it feels like a more pure experience for me. So
Also, comics is hard work. Like having tried to do it myself once or twice, like it's crazy to see the work that you did on Turbo Atoll, and then you
Mhm.
did the Rollerbard, and then
Mhm.
what was the other Swords and Boards was the other like
Yeah, yeah. I
skate comic
had
that you did?
it was a D&D supplement. It was a
Okay.
just adding skate mechanics to fifth edition, basically. It was very like based on the 90s, like like you see your buddy like pull off a sick trick and it gets you all stoked up, and so that gives your character like advantage, and then they can pull off sick tricks and so on and so forth. It's kind of ridiculous. I was literally just going over it like I found my little pamphlet with the rules on it. I'm like, oh wow, because I haven't played I haven't played that version of it in a minute. I have a casual D&D game that keeps
Oh,
going,
nice.
but we're playing very old school right now. We're not it's still fifth edition, but it's just very like the dwarves hate elves and like there it's not as I mean, it's PC kinda, but I'm like I like the conflict there within. I'm like, it's up to you guys whether you want to try to solve that or
Mhm.
not. It's our first real experience in a sandbox situation where I'm like,
Mhm.
this is your guys' world. You're the special ones. What are you gonna do with it?
Oh, so are you DM?
I am. I'm what we all know as the forever DM. Ever since I picked up the books in 2014, it's kind of been like I get to play and I do play quite often, but it more like 85% of the time I'm running the game, which is it's fine. I love making the worlds and letting
Mhm.
everybody come around and I'm one of those guys that makes my own like tokens for Roll20 and that kind of stuff.
Sick.
Well, I remember seeing you
Sick.
like post some images of like custom character art or NPC art for
Mhm.
different D&D related stuff in like your feed. And so what a cool thing to have a DM who does both the narrative world building, like pulling pieces out of the book, but then
Mhm.
also can provide sort of a unified like look.
It
Um,
yeah, like that's kind of I have fun with it. It's the outlet and it's sort of like, it's specialized with you guys. Like I feel comfortable enough with like the group that I have where I'm like, I don't mind making and putting the time in to make sure that you guys get a unique experience, right? Like
mhm.
that's the magic of D&D really, or just role playing in general. It's like, being an adult and playing make believe with your friends.
Totally.
Love it.
And so are you doing pretty much all your illustration work with like traditional materials, like even when you're doing
It's
stuff
kind
with
of half and
Jesse?
half, I think. Like these are some of the originals for Turbo Atoll, and this is like
Okay.
actual pen and ink on Bristol board and stuff like that. But then with like the halftone that it ended
Mhm.
up being, that was all done like digitally, and so I'd scan it in and make sure that I can get in there and actually play around. Because I don't know if you guys have ever toyed with halftone before, but it is a pain in the ass. Very satisfying when you can do it right, but very fickle. And I mean, you guys do miniatures and stuff, I'm sure. So like, it's one of those like labors of love that you kind of just and when I had to do however many pages I did for Jesse within a certain amount of time. I was like, not, I don't have time for that. I think even the last like 10 or 20 pages of Turbo Atoll are just pencil on Bristol board. I'm like, I can ink these in in the computer a lot
Mhm.
quicker, but still the actual full inked ones, like looking at them, I was looking back through and I'm like, sometimes I'm like, damn, that's good job, old Bob. You did you did you did well. Well done. I see problems, but also
Hmm.
solid. So a lot of the stuff I do now is very like one pass,
Hmm.
just straight ink and marker, and I like embrace the mistakes kind of thing. But when uh when I take the time, I think after I had my kid, I'm like, that's all I really have time for these
Hmm.
days. I can't like just sit down for hours on end. So I have to figure out a way that I can like just crank out a couple of things real quick in a 30-minute window if I can. But yeah, when I can sit down and do it and kind of get in that meditative zone, yeah, it feels good, and I like the results a lot more for sure.
Yeah. And like I was scrolling way the hell back in your Instagram feed, like back to like 2018 and looking at some of your stuff.
Hmm.
And you've been doing this a long ass time. And so I think it's helpful for like people who just see someone and say like, oh, they're a natural artist or drawer, and like you're just spitting this out of your pen in one go.
Hmm.
Well, you've been doing this for like over 10, like
I mean,
however
for
many.
as long as I've been able to hold
Right.
a pencil, essentially. But yeah, like the going straight to pen thing was a practice I started doing like basically back in 2018 in like my doodle,
Mhm.
my sketch pads and stuff. It would just be like fill up a page and mistakes be damned kind of thing, like just embrace doing that. And it kind of helps you be not so afraid of the blank page because as an artist, for me, that's like one of the hardest parts is getting past like that
Mhm.
just initial go and do it. And B, you get a lot more like muscle memory and stuff like that. And so your hand gets a little more controlled, and
Yeah.
you're able to do those shapes a little easier and so on and so forth. So I mean it's just practice. That's
Yeah. And that's like that muscle memory and also the hand-eye coordination is something I've noticed a lot, like doing my zine stuff
Mhm.
or doing like,
Yeah, dude, your stuff like from just a couple of years ago is like, wow, that's incredible. But it's because the consistency, like you're putting in the work and it's
right.
showing. So,
And like I feel setting little projects for yourself where you have enough structure, be it like your Twitch stream project where you're going through a game and you're sketching as you go along, or back when I was starting out on Instagram, it was doing Inktober,
mhm.
and just following the prompts. And there's like here and there, there's some drawings that I still like, but like most of it starting out was pretty rough, but it was
Right.
having to do multiple years of uh, 31 days of straight drawing
Mhm.
just forces you to get those reps in, and it gives you enough scaffolding or structure to kind of stick with it. And if you see
For
other
sure.
people doing it, and like someone leaves a like, that's just enough to kind of push it forward.
Yep. Serotonin drop. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Somebody else like that? Great. Oh, let's keep going. It does. I mean, it like literally goes miles, and Instagram knew that and they fucking capitalized on it
Right.
and
Well,
they
and here we are.
bastardized those fucking yeah, those challenges. But all that to say, those things were amazing though at like helping people get discovered and build practice. So like,
Mhm.
say what you will about them now these days, whatever, they're just trendy, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. They have some good use to them. So,
Right.
So I wanted to ask you, so you're talking a little bit about original characters. What's the story about this wizard of yours with the sneakers and the big nose? I want to know more. He's great.
So this is Burl. He's an original character. Burl being the literal name of those knobs on the wood.
Yeah.
So he was just sort of literally I drew like a swoop kind of thing, and I'm like, and I was just playing around with lines one day in a sketch pad, and from there I was like, oh, there's a little wizard hat. What am I gonna do? Well, I love Vivi. I love how Vivi has just this mysterious quality, but I don't want to just steal eyes. What am I gonna do? Well, if you don't see the eyes, then it's even more mysterious. Oh, let's do a wizard with a nose. Does he gonna have a beard? No, beard's a little too cliche. A mustache. There we go, a
Yeah.
mustache, right? So I landed on that, and then just to give him a little personality, I was like, let's give him red sneakers under that purple robe, right? So he's going around. He kind of came out of this back in 2018. I did this online 12-week online workshop with the Ghost Shrimp, who is the world creator designer, not like the writer or whatever, but the designer for Adventure Time, like the backgrounds
Okay.
and all
Ah,
that
right
kind of
on.
stuff.
Okay.
And he's a fucking character. That guy is insane. He has a podcast called Ghost Shrimp and Friends. That was going back then. Some really interesting and crazy insight into just creative life and like his mindset on like he mixes a lot of like sports with creativity, which is interesting. Like not necessarily like him doing sports or whatever. Yeah, he stays active and stuff, but it's just sort of like his championship mentality. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, my next piece is gonna be fucking better than the last one. Just like he's fucking wild. I love that guy. Uh, he changed his last name to Bandit because he thought Dan Bandit sounded better than what his other last name was.
That's a
I,
roguish name. That's
I love
good.
it. And that was his whole thing. He's like, yeah, man, like come up with a persona, come up with a name, blah, blah, blah. And that's kind of where Knobbywood came from. It was like I pulled from just stuff in my past that I was like, and it sounds absurd, right? Like it's a little weird. And like some people are like, ooh, is that sexual? And it's like, I don't know. Is it? It's up to you, I guess. Uh, but here's some deep lore for you. I was in Boy Scouts and we were
Hell yeah.
at this Boy Scout summer camp. And at the end of the week, every troop was supposed to come up with a skit to perform in front of like the bonfire for everybody and that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And we were trying to figure out things to do, and we were all kind of like wandering through the woods, and somebody found this fucking stick with a bunch of knobs on it, and they were like, Knobbywood! And like that just kind of became our stem for the rest of the week. And we just came up with these ridiculous like skits, like it was used as a big laser cannon to defeat Godzilla on one of them, and like it was like used as some kind of linchpin for a bunch of other random things. And so that always kind of stuck with me. So I was like, okay, it was literally just this like stick in the wood that was the catalyst for our just superb creativity, right? Like it, and that's all it needed. So, that's kind of where that's always stuck with me and that's always kind of resonated. And so, something as simple as that is something that can just blow your mind and make you come up with great stuff. So Knobbywood, there we are.
Hell yeah, that's an awesome story. And I don't know, like that's similar to where my handle Vladimir the Badimir came from, was just like hanging out with high school friends, playing. There's this game Rush 2049 for Dreamcast where you did stunt tricks with cars and then they could
Hmm.
extend wings and you could do like aerial spins and stuff.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah, oh yeah.
and
They
so
had that like stunt track. The yeah, oh yeah.
But yeah, it's just I don't know. I feel like that's a very particular thing of having like a formative experience with a group of friends when you're young. You come up with your early internet handle or
Hmm.
something, and then it just kind of sticks with you for a while.
It's that personal mythology, like everybody's on their own like hero's journey, so on and so forth. So the more stuff you can pull from that, the better. And it's more exciting.
And it's
I
also
could go
nice
around
to,
and be like, "Hey, I'm Bobby Morgan," right?
right?
But like, nah, man, I'm the Knobbywood. What's up?
So back to your materials a little bit. Like, are you using Copic markers or
Yeah,
what's
Copic is sort of my
your go-to?
go-to. I use micron pins for
Okay,
my liners, and then Fudensuko brush pins for like the sort of thicker or heavier lines,
okay.
and then for any like big black fill, Sharpie baby all the way.
Mhm. And is that something that you came to just like process of elimination over a
Yeah,
lot of time
yeah.
drawing and
I've
stuff?
tried a lot of different stuff, like brush and dip pins and things like that. And okay, so as far as results, brush is my absolute favorite. Like that when you see, you can tell when somebody's inked with a brush because you can like literally see the heartbeat of the artist in that line. And it's
Mhm.
like you can't get that with like Photoshop brushes and stuff, right? Like you can't get that with a liner. You get a little bit of that with a liner, and you can kind of fake that like depending on the paper depth and stuff like that. I learned like if you have like a tiny piece of foam core or something to put behind your paper, you can kind of push your pen in a little bit more to get those thicker lines and stuff without it like busting through.
Mhm.
And there's little tricks like that, but nothing like beats that actual like, thick horsehair brush just in
Mhm.
there. And yeah, it feels good. It just takes for fucking ever. And as we've said before, I don't have that. I don't have time for that shit anymore.
Mhm.
I would love to, and I'm sure I will get back to those times, but I think he's even running around right now. But luckily, mom's able to kind of wrangle on around while I'm on the phone.
Right.
Important business call.
Important business call. Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
oh, what is that? I don't.
How old's your boy?
He's five. He's five.
Oh, okay.
Gonna be 6 next August. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, he's
Yeah,
he's
I'm
really
in
getting
this.
into it, and it's great because all the toys get to come back out, right? You get to play with them
Oh
Nice.
yeah.
again. Like, so it's yeah.
Yeah. Mine turns 4 next week, so I'm going through the same thing.
hmm hmm
And so do you get to like draw pictures for him? Is he issuing requests as well? Does he have to pay
All the
for
time. And it's like his favorite thing to do. And he's incredibly creative, and like he was kind of cursed with that because of not only me but his mother. Like she's super super creative as well, but like on a different kind of like level. She's more like she should have been the carpenter. Like she like built half the stuff in her house and that kind of stuff. So she's that kind of like creative, like can just make something out of nothing. But he's always getting me to draw him dungeon maps and things like that. I've invented a sort of a kid-friendly D&D thing that we did where it was just sort of like, I just had little icons like a muscle that he knew that
Mhm.
was strength. I had a brain, he knew that was his smarts, and then I had like a
Mhm.
little light bulb, and I was like, that's sort of like your magic, right? And I was like, which one do you want more points in? And I gave him stickers, and he just like put points in there, and then we just use those points to count. And he loves counting, so it's like just have a D6, roll a dice, and of course, who doesn't like rolling dice? So he
Right.
was just like, I get it, I
Sick.
get it. This is cool.
Sick.
Let's make another dungeon. And so what he'll do is he'll pick out who his hero is going to be, and he has like Mario or Bluey or blah blah blah. And I'm like, cool, man. What's their special power? Mario's pretty good at jumping. Is he a jumping knight? Or is it Bluey's got a really great imagination? Is she going to use her magic wand to make things come real? Blah blah blah. It's just there's no like real actual calculating. It's just letting him like run the show like he would anyway, but
Yeah, I mean, it
containing
sounds to
them and
me
exposing
it
them to like tiny maps and like little characters he can move around and that kind of stuff, and he problem solves and blah blah blah. It's really fun.
yeah, so it's all the best parts, and it's sort of it to me it sounds like a cool like design sort of project for you with your like DM skills of how do you pull out all the structure that's like, the best parts of D&D and
hmm
make it accessible to someone new. Sort
hmm
of the same way that I see like Brett when you're designing stuff that's going to hold up to Carter like winging it around by its foot or
Correct.
whatever
Correct.
attachment point that isn't meant to be load bearing. Like how can you have the toy be interesting shape and still like structurally sound enough that you can hand it off to someone?
Yeah, that was definitely the plan with the flex joints whenever we were doing a lot of that. How do you make a PLA toy not shatter on impact?
Make a guess, give it to kid, and see what happens.
Well, he's all the QA. So if it
Yeah,
passes him, it'll pass a collector. That's
it'll
usually
yeah.
my
There you go.
yeah. But so like you have these original characters you've done in all these different designs and art. Have you ever considered getting into toy making at all, or having stuff done like figures of your creations?
So I do have Nomad on the iPad. I
Excellent. We
have
love to hear
been
it.
watching tutorials and toying around with things. I would really, really like to. I even have an Anycubic in that
Oh,
closet
wow.
right in there. Um, Problem is, this house is a modular and the ventilation is awful. So
Yep.
Mm,
I need like a shed or something that I
Yeah.
can go do all this out in. But otherwise, yeah, I've been toying around with the idea of maybe having a little soft vinyl burl, like, kicking around
No,
somewhere.
no,
I
I
think he
was,
would. His
that'd be so
design
sick.
is nice and round, and I think he would lend himself to that kind of thing. And
For sure.
uh, but yeah, yeah. I mean, I've got ideas, but I have a lot of ideas, and sometimes I have to be realistic about my ideas.
Yeah,
well,
you're
I do
preaching to that
know.
choir.
I also know a couple guys with both resin and FDM printers.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That was
So,
kind of my thought on it was like, well, toy around, and when you have something, maybe like kick it around and
mhm.
see what everybody thinks, and yeah. So,
No,
Well,
that
uh,
would be
he's
sick.
yeah.
Burl and Safumi would be so sick. That would rule.
I mean, just to have one for myself would really
Oh,
be
well,
Mhm.
that's.
well, that's how like we were about doing vinyl. It's like even if
Mhm.
this all goes to shit, like, hey, we got a sick toy out of it.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at with, like any of it. I'm like, as long as I get to have one, that it makes it worth it to put this out in the world. So here we go.
Yeah. And even if you only do him like 1 to 3 POA, where if it's like the head and like maybe the feet, I mean, it would not be a big mold. It'd be relatively cheap.
Mhm.
So that could be really fun. I mean, obviously, if you get something done and you want to print it, like I do have multicolor, so we wouldn't even have to paint. It'd be fun. I'd be happy to run it. That'd be really cool. Just to see it in filament or resin. I mean,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have
Get a
me and
little
Gordon are
prototype,
like
and
we're all ready for the prints.
of course, of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I know who to turn to for sure.
absolutely.
When I'm ready to cross that bridge.
Sick. Yeah, so do you like working with Nomad? Have you used much of it, or are you like
Uh,
primarily an iPad guy, or do you like PC work?
So I have a love-hate relationship with Apple products. When I was in school, I kind of got screwed over because I had an Apple and I had Maya on it, but I needed for some
Hmm.
project, there was like some f weird crazy archaic file format they needed from a PC version of whatever, blah blah blah. And so I had to like try to learn how to parcel like part of my Mac to be like a PC. And anyway, long story short, it was just too much of a hassle. So I started, just doing PC stuff, and that's so much
Mhm.
easier.
Yeah.
Everything's modular, everything's good.
Yep.
Uh, but all that being said, I still have not found anything that draws better than Procreate, and the ease of use, just being able to doodle like sculpts and stuff like that in Nomad is great. So,
Mhm.
I still got a lot to learn and doing all that, and I made like a little fraud. I don't even remember what the guy's tutorial name is, but he's all over the place as far as Nomad. Like if you type in Nomad tutorial, his stuff comes up, right? So like and he's got like a very cute style that kind of stood out to me. So I was like, well, that seems like closer to my kind of like more roundish, like
Mhm.
off, model kind of style that I do. So
Yeah. Yeah, I know the big one is Southern GFX, I think is the one I saw for Nomad.
I think that's who it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever I was fiddling with Nomad, that was the guy I was doing all the tutorials alongside. They were very good.
Hmm.
Very, it's like that's one of the great parts of like the university of YouTube that if you
Hmm.
don't go down conspiracy rabbit holes,
Right.
like
Yeah. Yeah. You
YouTube's
can learn
great.
some great skills there for sure. Like
Yeah. And you can also learn a lot of stuff on YouTube that's going to get you fired from your job. So,
yeah, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And well, and honestly, that was kind of one of the reasons why I kind of got fed up with the Art Institute was
Mhm.
all
right.
the all the instructors are like, "Well, here, if you're having trouble, go to this YouTube video." And I'm like, "Why am I paying all this money and going to you for you to tell me to go back to my computer?" And
Right.
yeah, anyway, that's I have some things to say about that. Anywho,
So
but yes, YouTube, you can learn a lot of great stuff on YouTube. That's
when
how
you're
that.
working on a three-dimensional object or toy, are you thinking about it at all differently from like design elements or the level of detail versus something that you're going to have to draw 100 more times for like a comic or an animation?
So yeah, when I'm designing for different things like a comic, I typically go a bit more detailed because you have that room to get more detailed. Whereas like animation, you really need to think about like how many lines you're going to be putting in a character because you're drawing those lines 24 times per second, right? So like at and that's and it's standard these days is 30 frames per second. So it's like even crazier. Um but thanks to trends and movies like Spider-Verse and stuff like that, that 12 frame per second is coming back in, and people still are like, no, you can get a lot done with that, and it gives it kind of that gritty
Hmm.
kind of like hand-drawn look to it too. Um so yeah, like you gotta be conscious about those. Now, as far as 3D design, I typically when I'm drawing 2D, I'm thinking about things in like simplified shapes. So
Hmm.
like, I'm looking at tubes and spheres everywhere, right? Like that's kind of, I'm trying to train myself to do more blocks so I can do more hard body kind of
Hmm.
stuff, because I think that's sort of my weakness. I like my style lends itself to soft body kind of stuff anyway.
Hmm.
But that's kind of, that's what's fun about having weaknesses is like that's just another challenge you get to go,
Totally.
go hone. Uh, yeah, so it's if when I'm going in for 3D stuff, I literally I'll start with a sketch and then I'll simplify that even further just to
Hmm.
get a baseline. And then once I have the thing sculpted out, that's when I'll go in and actually start doing details. Because I've done a few things. I think it was Blender and stuff like that, where I printed out my own minis
Oh,
and
nice.
made. I did it one time. I made a character and I drew out my own character sheet and everything, like custom character sheet for a rogue and all this stuff, and
Hell
it
yeah.
had his portrait on it, and I did too much. That's all I can say. Literally within 15 minutes of that, I he died. It was awful. I was like, well, that was great. I've got a great monster or NPC I can use later, so here we go.
Just bring him back. Just put a different hat on, or
Different
like,
hat on, yeah.
right,
Put a little monocle. It's
right.
Junior. Uh,
Because something I think about both just like doing sketches of stuff from my collection or trying to draw stuff for my own characters is, what's a good and compelling like animation character isn't always a fun toy design. And
right.
like a lot of toy designs would be terrible to have to draw, you know, like I've back to your Ninja Turtles, like looking at the old like Playmates
Hmm.
designs like Muckman or like Mutagen Man, like all the weird like asymmetrical sculpted detail works great if you're sort of sculpting it once for a thing that can kind of be turned around in your hand. But if you're going to have to illustrate that each time, you're
Hmm.
going to need to think of like really clever ways to have it like in cast shadow or something such that you're not having to render it
Yeah.
in every single frame.
Oh man, Muckman on. Oh yeah, drawing like all those layers of. Oh no, that would be a nightmare. But that's why they shipped a lot of that. They're like, I don't want to do. But yeah, I mean, it comes down to it, and in I personally like simplified shapes just in general.
Hmm.
Because with the exception of Ninja Turtles and stuff like that, I find myself getting very distracted when I have too many things that are like too all over the place.
Hmm.
So uh it helps for me mentally to simplify things. So I think that kind of comes through in my work where I'm like, okay, I know that he's supposed to have like six crazy tubes and things going around here, but I'm gonna cut it down to four, and I'm gonna make them just noodles, and that's gonna work for me for now because that makes my brain feel better.
But I think what I really admire in your work is you have a good sense for what are the elements to keep such that like the silhouette is still maintained and then it's recognizable as like the character that you're trying to base it off
Yeah,
while
yeah.
cutting out, a lot of the repeated detail for stuff.
Yeah, I grew up learning silhouette was super important. Like, like Frank Miller work and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah.
It like really I was drawn right into that stuff. I'm like, this is so impactful, and all it is just like shapes. Like
Hmm.
he's just playing with white negative space and darkness, and like, and so I was like, okay, if you can have something that crazy, and those characters have personality and stuff, right? Like even
Hmm.
within those shadows. So it's just like I knew from from those experiences, and also growing up with like Batman the animated series
Oh,
and things
totally,
like
yeah.
that. Like I guess a lot of noir stuff was like, hey, silhouette, shadow, it's perfect. Like take
Right. Well,
note.
it's good character design and it's also
Mhm.
like smart animation
Yeah,
because you're not having to deal with a whole bunch of internal detail on lines.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. You got to learn where to cheat where you can. So
Right. Work smarter, not harder.
that's right. That's right.
So you mentioned that you finished up Earthbound just recently. So I forget if we said it while we were recording, but like what's next on the docket for your sort of Twitch stream and super
Yeah, yeah, I'm
project?
not sure yet if we mentioned it, but Final Fantasy VI is the next one that's coming up. I think I had a lot of people, like a lot of people were saying Earthbound 3 or blah blah blah,
Hmm.
like cuz and I was tempted by it, but my heart is set on Final Fantasy VI because even before I played 7, which is near and dear to my heart, um six was the very first Final Fantasy game I saw and was like, whoa, what
Okay.
is this? Like that intro scene where it's just the mechs walking in the snow towards the mountains, right? I was
Hmm.
like, what is this? Those are so cool looking. What is going on? And then, like, with all these really crazy steampunky like design elements, all of a sudden there's this like little white cute guy with a little pink ball on his head that's like
Hmm.
Kupo, and I'm like, what is this? I love this. And so yeah, so I need to see what this is all about because that's about as far as I got to play, and I've heard a lot
Oh
of
my
great
God.
stuff about it. And Kefka like seems like he is like
Oh,
one of the
he's
pivotal villains of this century. So I need to experience it on a
Hmm.
firsthand
so
basis.
much better than Sephiroth. Sephiroth is the edge lord. Kefka
Yeah,
is
yeah,
just pure evil made manifest. It's so
yeah.
good. It's so
I
good.
I want to experience this, and I'm gonna draw the whole thing. So,
Yeah,
and plus the
I
sprite
look forward to
art in
this.
it looks amazing. So I can't wait to just like dig into it.
Yeah, which version are you gonna be playing? Are you just gonna be playing the Super Nintendo ROM?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
I think that's probably the easiest. I have one of those like Super Nintendo minis that have it on there,
Yeah,
but I think it would just be easier for me to play it on
stream
the
it.
ROM. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, it's really fantastic. I was born in '93, so my older brother, who's 12 years older than me, he introduced me to it. So
Hmm.
through, having an awesome older brother game collection, it was like I
Oh
was
yeah.
playing all these classics. So yeah, that's really fantastic. Looking forward to that playthrough.
Hmm.
It's you're gonna have a lot of fun with it. And I'm really
I'm
looking forward to the zine. It's gonna
I'm
go
excited. Oh
crazy.
yeah, yeah. No, that's gonna be a good one. I think at the end of the year I'm gonna have like a calendar or something I'll put together. I think
Oh,
that'll be a lot of
sick.
fun. Just like get a lot of the all the highlights, some of the best and stupidest ones that we've done
Hmm.
so far, and then yeah, just get them figuring out which months they go to. That's gonna be fun. So
Yeah, absolutely. Any other notable RPGs from your past you're into, like Chrono Trigger, anything like that, or?
Chrono Trigger, I had never actually beat Chrono Trigger. I'd
Okay.
seen it being been beat by a buddy, but I've never actually played through my own playthrough
Okay.
and beat it until 2020.
Oh,
So
right
Oh
on.
wow,
I
nice.
got the Steam version with the cool. I guess it was the DS version or something like that
Yeah.
because it has like the
It's
cartoon and all that stuff like cut in with it and
Yeah, and there's a few extra dungeons it adds in from the
mhm.
DS version. So I remember being in high school when they re-released the DS version, and I like, had pre-ordered it. I was so excited. I was like, I can't believe they're going to release this
Yeah.
game on DS. It's crazy.
Yeah, and the soundtrack in that song just or
Unparalleled.
that whole thing just gives me goosebumps. I love it. I love it. And like
Yeah.
some of the stuff I've heard in Final Fantasy VI sounds really good too. So,
Yeah. It's tough. Like I think to me, Chrono Trigger is more memorable, and it's
mhm.
just because it's more episodic. Like it's very Toriyama in the sense like Dragon
Right.
Ball is like, this when you get to like the Kingdom of Zeal, for me, that's like the equivalent of being the Cell Saga in
Mhm,
Dragon
mhm.
Ball. But for like Final Fantasy, the soundtrack on six is just it's undefeated. It's so
Yeah.
good.
I'm pretty sure it'll take us a long time to get through six because I only
Oh
play
yeah.
2 hours every Monday. So, that's it's probably gonna
Yeah.
be it might be a year and some change. Maybe we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
probably have some breaks in between here and there. But I think after that, I might start doing some of the Dragon Quest series because
Oh, that'll
I
be a lot of
love
fun.
Yeah.
Toriyama's art. Like I
Yeah.
just
Dragon
adore
Quest
it.
rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. That sounds great. Yeah, I'm thinking 2 hours a week for six. Yeah, that'll probably be about a year's long
And yeah,
stream.
and I don't do completionist or anything
No,
like
no,
that.
there's no
And
need to.
and
No.
sometimes if it's like because
And
I
like
played Pokemon before and I did a little like off-screen grinding just to like
yeah.
help get through. So I'll probably do a little bit of that depending because once you get through a certain area and you've doodled all the enemies or whatever that are
Yeah.
interesting, you don't want to just keep rehashing that. So it kind of helps to get to the next spot.
Yeah, you'll have a little bit of grinding to do if you want to get Ultima. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's good. I mean, it's a lot of fun. And that's one of the games I don't feel bad grinding in. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like
Mhm.
there's certain games like Pokemon, especially like Gen 1 and 2 feels terrible to grind in. But
Oh yeah, yeah.
but like
I've
I
never
found
see that was the thing. I'd only played like the very beginning of Pokemon Red, so that was kind
oh,
of my
okay.
whole quest of the last Pokemon I played. I played the purple one. What was it called? Violet.
Violet. Yeah,
Violet. I
okay.
played Violet, and so I was like, it's my goal to play a Pokemon game through to completion. And I started out drawing every Pokemon I caught and then their subsequent evolution, but then quickly realized that was a bad idea. I was
Yeah, I
like,
mean
I'm
if
going to be
you
drawing for the rest of my life. I cannot do
yeah.
this.
If you do Gen 1, there's only 150 to
That's
draw.
right. Yeah,
So
it's like I should have started in an earlier generation. That was my problem. But yeah, but still, I've got like a big stack of like, I do most of these doodles on so printer paper is my go-to. Like you
Nice.
can't
Oh,
beat it
okay.
for like it's not archival, so that's not great. But it as far as what I've drawn on the most and what I like to draw on, and the way Copics bleed on it. Like I'm just kind of used to it. I kind of like
Mhm.
the way it spreads and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, that's like my go-to. So yeah, I've got like I'll take a printer paper, fold it in half basically 4 times, and then just cut the lines, and boom, you
Oh,
got
nice.
4 pages that you can doodle on. So it helps, and it helps me keep the doodle small so that I can like it's fun to watch somebody draw on stream, but when you're also playing a game, you don't want to be like, you don't want
Mhm.
to take too long is the
Yeah.
kind of the whole thing. It's something I've learned as I've gone through and like you kind of look at the numbers, which is a bad idea. Never look at the numbers, but you look at the numbers and you can see where the dips are and that kind of stuff. And you're like, people get interested when you start drawing, but then when you're still drawing like 20 minutes later, they're like, okay, what else is happening?
Mhm.
And I'm no Bob Ross, I'm not in there like I try to fill in as much time as possible, but after a while you just start rambling and you can't fill in all that empty space. Plus, I think it also once I start coloring, I kind of lock in, so I just go quiet.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's just silence for 5-10 minutes maybe. But yeah, I am looking forward to those. So
Yeah, I'm looking forward to tuning into your stream for six. That's going to be a lot of fun. I caught a few of the Earthbound ones. I've never finished Earthbound. I'm
Mhm.
like I usually get like three-quarters of the way through and then it loses me, which is really funny because I feel like you're so far into the game, like I should just finish it. But
Well, and that
that's how
was
I am.
one thing it did kind of lag there in the third
Yeah.
act. It had third act problems, but
Yep.
it was a great experience to get through there, and it stuck the landing at the end. So that was the important part,
Nice.
you know.
Yeah.
It made it all worth it.
No, it's good.
So,
Go ahead, Gordon.
oh, I don't know if this is going to drive too far away from what you were going to follow up with, but I'd be curious, do you have much chance to play like contemporary RPGs at all? Like, I know that I was asking Brett about like had he played Deltarune or Undertale, which is sort of, I feel like a modern spiritual successor in a lot of ways to
Yeah, a
Mother.
lot of people have told me about Undertale, and I've seen a lot of stuff around it. You know, just like keeping my ear to like
Hmm.
the ground on video game sources and stuff like that. And like it's from what I hear an indie gem, and I'd love to give it a chance, but I haven't played that one specifically, but I did play a little bit of Hollow Knight.
Oh, nice.
Um,
Any of the
Ooh,
Souls games?
ooh, here's a perfect one. I don't think I have the thing. I have played Elden Ring, but no, like I
Okay.
played a little bit of Dark Souls 2, and I was like, this is too hard for me. I I couldn't lock quite in on that one.
Hmm.
But Elden Ring, I think, was the sweet spot for me. I think that was like I was like, okay, that I can. It's not so hard that I can't find something to grind through and get to the next part and that kind of thing. So. But and I love Elden Ring, like the
Hmm.
art direction and all that stuff was that was kind of like one of the things that kind of got me into like, ooh, maybe I should start making the doodles more game centric as opposed to I was just taking like, hey, chat, what do you want me to draw? And it would
Okay, yeah.
usually be some like anime chick or blah blah blah, and you know after a while I was like I'm so tired of drawing your anime porn, guys. Like I would really like to draw my own things. So uh but no, I mean it didn't get that bad, but there were a few times where we were like nope, no, it's got to be safe for work, you know.
Right.
We had to draw a line, literally.
Hmm.
But yeah, like I saw somebody had just made this beautiful illustrative journal of their playthrough of Elden Ring. And I'm like, that is an amazing idea. That's like
Do
it's
you
one of those where you're like, why did I not think of that? You know?
do you follow the artist Gobbly Tom, I think, on
Gobbly
Instagram?
Tom, yeah, dude. Oh man, his marker work is
He did sort of similar journaling as he was playing through, I think, a
Mhm,
bunch of the
mhm.
Dark Souls games, and
His
then like,
builds and stuff were
yeah,
yeah, they definitely inspired me to draw some builds myself for
and
sure.
it was cool because he was posting them like right around the time that the games were released, so I was playing through at the same time. I'm like, oh, I remember that part, or like I
I think that's
recognize that
part of the
NPC.
reason why I got into it. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll play Elden Ring, right? You know.
Hmm.
But yeah, so yeah, I played that. Baldur's Gate 3, of
Oh,
course, you
nice.
know, gotta
Hmm.
give D&D my props. I made it to the third act in that, but my PC is still not quite like it started like it really makes some noise when I'm
Hmm.
running around Baldur's Gate, like all those NPCs and everything. It's like I can't do this, man. So it needs an upgrade. I mean it can't even run Windows 11 right now, so it definitely is due for some new parts.
So people should buy up your doodle slots, is what you're
Oh
saying.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. You know, pay what you can, you know, $5 minimum and whatever. So it's a cheap way to get concepts, that's for sure. I do appreciate when people reach out outside and I can give them, you know, my actual prices or whatever, but
Hmm.
I came to this point where I was like, I really need to start and you know getting more doodles coming in, but at the same
Hmm.
time, like I really don't want to charge an arm and a leg, you know, because
No,
like
that's awesome, and like, it's great that you can make it accessible to a wider range of people,
mhm.
and like then when they see what you're able to do, it's like you're putting a lot of work in, and so I don't know, it builds to that community in a certain respect by
Mhm,
being able to
mhm.
draw people into it rather than saying, I have to have my own business that I'm running, uh,
Right. Yeah,
that I
yeah.
need
It feels a
concept work
lot more
for.
more organic for sure. That's
Right.
like, yeah, yeah. It doesn't have that like dirty like nobody likes to market, like especially artists. We hate
Right.
marketing. It's just it's a whole different side of the brain that's kind of hard to access. So
Mhm. But it's also nice if, like, you are an artist yourself and you're coming to you for concept sketch, giving you a little
yeah,
bit more
yeah.
because we know that you're going to put the
But yeah,
work
and
in
yeah, that's
and you're bringing your skill set.
exactly. Like I think that's one of the greatest things about the whole pay what you can thing is like the people like yeah, people pay what they think it's worth and yeah, it's some people pay a little more, some people pay a little less. That's fine. Either
Mhm.
way, like I don't really the quality doesn't like go down necessarily. I approach each one the same. It's just yeah, I feel like the consistency is better than
Mhm.
the quality, I guess, right now at this point. So
And it's also cool that it opens you up to get a wide range of requests from people's like D&D
yeah, yeah,
characters
and they're
to,
like turned around quicker too. So like
yeah.
they kind of yeah, it's a nice little like it's opened up a lot of like conversations. Like you guys came through it, and then
Hmm.
that led to I think like the logo and that kind of stuff. And so yeah, it like leads to these little organic things outside, which is it's perfect. I love it because
Hmm.
I I'm not trying to be like a famous artist. Like one of my favorite bands is 311 and their whole goal
Oh
like
yeah.
all along is was like we just want underground success. And
Hmm.
that's
Yeah.
basically all I'm looking for. Like I'm just trying to be a good person within the community like that can provide out there. Like,
Right.
I want to be part of it and I want to contribute, but at the same time like yeah, like I don't want to take too much.
Right.
Oh
There's
man.
there's a
I
lot of expensive things going on when you're a creator, right? Like,
Hmm.
so,
I
that,
gotta know. What's your favorite 311 album?
ooh, uh,
I'm a huge 311 guy.
yeah. So music goes hard because it's like
Absolutely. Yeah.
the sort of transition between like their like super B-side old stuff to
Mhm.
their like more poppy mainstream stuff. So they like really hit that. So it's probably between music and grassroots.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a
Grassroots
transistor.
has like a yeah. Oh, Transistor is like
Yeah.
Transistor's a journey.
Well, it's that's like such a perfect driving album. Like you can just
Mhm.
put it on when you're
Exactly.
driving.
Hmm.
But yeah, Grassroots is great. Like that. Yeah, Homebrew is a great track.
Hmm.
Great track.
It's the one that gets me fired up. So
Oh yeah, that's a great one for sure. That's awesome.
makes the white boy bounce. So
Most definitely. It is that they're still a really cool group, and that like I'm not vibing as much with their newest
yeah,
records,
yeah. But I'm also
but
glad that they do evolve. Like
well, and it's
and
still so cool that it's the original lineup. Like they're
yeah,
still
yeah.
going strong. Like
Hmm. Well,
and
they
they're
got their
still
crews and they got,
yeah.
like they tour every year. They got it figured out to where like they're not sacrificing too much. They've got it built
No.
into their lives so that their families and stuff like that, like, are able to be in their life and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah,
No.
I've always looked up to them and their kind of philosophy on those kinds of things. So that's kind of how I approach art. I'm like, I would prefer to be more in the underground kind of stuff. Like I like working with indie creators.
Yeah, I thinking of it in sort of a sustainable way rather than trying to like maximize output as quickly as possible is definitely a healthier way to think
Yeah,
about
that's
it,
why it's
both
five
for
slots a week because I'm like any
right.
more than that is gonna be too much. So
Hmm.
that was part of the built-in sanity limit kind of thing. Like at the least, if I fill all five slots and it was only $5, it's like that's $25. That's gas, right? Like
Hmm.
great job. That's worth it right there for just a
And
couple
it
of
and it
slinging some
means
ink
like
and markers.
when it comes to the next week, you're not already tired
Mhm,
out and
mhm.
like can do it again.
Exactly, exactly. And Kofi's great. I didn't realize like the amount of stuff you could do with a Ko-fi page. Like you can sell digital goods, you can sell hard goods, you can sell
Well,
subscriptions, you can do all sorts of stuff. Like I'm not necessarily going like Patreon is its own thing, and you know
mhm,
I've been dabbling with like I think Jesse was the one that was like you should have a Patreon.
mhm,
I'm like, okay, how do I do that? I don't know what to do, and I'm still trying to figure it out. I
mhm.
feel like for the last like 5 years, I've changed it like every other year to something different. I'm like, this year I'm doing RPG tokens. This year I'm gonna do this. And no, I'm sticking with the play and draw zine. This is it. This is I've honed it in. This is the
Mhm.
culmination. And then two months from now, I'm probably gonna change my mind. But you know, I have ADD.
Although it seems like from what I said in how you've laid out things, having the Ko-fi be sort of your storefront that's sort of the primary generator of
Mhm.
everything you do, and that along with Twitch stream sort of feeds into that and is like the live view of the process, and then being
Yeah,
able to kind of have a
the Twitch
curated version of
stream
that
makes
over
the
Patreon.
stuff, and then everything else from that I can use to funnel or whatever it is. I listen to a lot of Creative Pep Talk. I don't know if you guys have heard of that
Yeah.
podcast. Amazing podcast, highly recommended for creatives. It's hosted by Andy J. Pizza. He's a just really cool artist guy that just kind of he's been doing it for 15 years. He's published books. He's worked for Xbox. Like
All right.
he's got a really fun like he does kids books
Oh,
and stuff like
nice.
that. So he has like a fun like painterly kids book vibe. But his philosophy and just sort of well, they're pep talks. That's what
Hmm.
it is. Like he kind of like helps you like if you've been kind of down and out and you're burnout, blah blah blah, or you're feeling stuck, that kind of stuff. He kind of gives you places to go that can help you get out of those ruts. And
Hmm.
it's not just somebody talking at you for 30 minutes or an hour. Like he ends each episode with what he calls a call to action because he's big on like Campbell and Young and that kind of stuff. But and basically gives you like something you can do that will help your practice or help your mental health in that
Hmm.
situation that can get you back to doing the creative things that you like to do. So highly recommend Creative Pep Talk. Shout out to Andy.
Awesome.
Sick. That sounds like a solid rack. I'll have to check that out.
Mhm.
Gordon, any other
Dr. Pizza.
questions?
Uh, I don't know. I feel like we got a pretty good broad overview of some of the stuff. I did wanted to mention like the project that Knobbywood and I sort of got to work
Yeah, we
on that
didn't
was
even.
toy related. Back in the early days, we both sort of helped out Brendan when he was getting started up with his Sonic Atomics. And
Mhm.
so
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah,
actually
talk about
wanted to
that.
do
Riff on that.
a callback to the image that I showed, I think it was our last episode for the Goblin Toy Forge. We'll see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, so these guys.
Oh yeah.
So the yellow one was sort of my initial mash together of instruments, but then Brennan went back and now, but you did some initial like line work of just the instruments, right? Right from
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
initial napkin
I
sketch.
was hoping I had it around here somewhere, but I must have put it back. But yeah, like I had some just like random like Glyos pegs and instrument layouts on some grid paper and that kind of stuff for them.
I think I'm sure this is going to be thrilling podcasting, but I'm pretty sure I have it. Give me one sec.
For our audio listeners, we're seeing the deep dark secrets of Gordon's desktop. So
I'll provide you with the
all
dulcet tones of a beatbox.
How fast can I do this? This is why
Goblin Toy Forge.
you should have better file organization.
He's going to find a file, y'all.
No, that's good. I actually think we need to get this as our just like our opening track. We just like
No,
open
there it
up
is. Yeah,
for
just
10
put that.
seconds.
Just
No, but
perfect.
like for
Oh yeah,
from
here we
every
go.
episode for now on.
All right. So I think
Yeah, you gotta have every episode. It's gotta have a jingle. No,
this was you, right? Sort of.
that is me.
Oh, that goes crazy.
See how I hate angles for some
But
reason. Everything's got to be rounded and smooth.
but you know,
Oh, the boom
you
board.
you gave a good like variety of shapes for me to pick from as I was trying to then go into Blender and like rough out stuff. And then I remember Brendan was sort of coming in and feeding me more actual like instrument references for
Hmm.
like the knob placement and dials. Uh, so I guess it started with you and your drawings, then went to the instruments. Then I ended up sticking them together into this yellow dude,
Hmm.
uh, which I guess you got photos back from that,
Yep.
did another revised drawing, which is this guy.
Oh yeah, there's that guy.
And so this was pulling in, I had had these like weird wires sticking together all the instrument elements, um, which uh, were a lot kind of more loosely arranged. And so the overall silhouette of this guy was actually not particularly structurally sound, but you
Mm.
came back in and gave him more of like a beefed up robot look, which actually held together much better as a figure.
Hmm.
And then that's what I went in and did for the second pass, which is this dude with
That
like
dude.
the
Yeah, yeah,
horns.
yeah.
Those
Oh
are
man, I
sick.
remember when I saw those come in, I was like, oh dude, this is awesome.
We really got to like now that we know articulation better,
Mhm.
you really got to run these back with like joints or like the TPU polycaps.
Yeah, it would be fun to see
Or just like
it
blow
run
them up to have
back.
like a 12-inch one, you know, that'd be really fun.
That would be dope. There's a good spot right back there behind you that
But it was cool to have you as, this third collaborator on the project because I don't know, you were able to, you know, kind of simplify the shapes in a way that is different from my own design aesthetic, but ended up making it a lot easier for me to work as a sculptor
Mhm.
than just trying to draw things at myself. So
And shout out to Brendan because he was just
yeah.
sort of like, "Yeah, man, do it." Like he was just like, "That's great. I love this. Go." So
Yeah, he's a great dude
he
to
really kind of
collaborate
just
with.
let us, yeah, like kind of go to town with whatever, you know. He had notes obviously, but it was
Mhm.
all very organic, and he was super easy guy. And I think without giving too much away, I am currently working on something with him again.
Oh,
So
excellent.
Sick.
Yeah.
Let's go.
mhm.
That's awesome. Well, that's great news.
Yeah, and that's a great kind of note to end on. So like look forward to that. I assume hopefully debuting maybe sometime Toy Pizza Con or before then. But
Yeah. Can we expect to see you up in Beacon with us sometime in the
You know,
great north of Toy
I'm really
Pizza?
going to try this year.
Oh, we would
Like
love that.
it would it really kind of depends on how everything goes financially and stuff like that and how schedules line up because, you know, we're constantly I feel like every time we get our feet under us it gets knocked out like we got Helene
right.
last year and like
Yeah.
everything was just or 2 years ago now I don't even know it was it's just one trauma after the next so but yeah I'm playing it by ear and this year I feel very optimistic about hopefully making it out there. I'm definitely going to assembly this
That's
weekend
right.
though. That's
Yeah.
So people
but
should
I
come
don't know
see
when
you.
this is going up or whatever so last
It'll
weekend.
it'll go up before I think Saturday. So people
Mhm.
should, if they're at the show on Saturday, they should come find you. They should go find Grant. Make sure to buy some shell shocks.
Yes,
They should
yes.
also go find
I think
Apache Prime. Yeah,
Apache's going to be there with with his wife and some Furbies and stuff. So yeah,
great.
me and my son are going to go lurk, and I'm pretty
Excellent.
sure Andrew McLean will be there again of
Oh man,
Headlopper fame. He's been there pretty much every year it's happened so far. So I always go nerd out in front of him.
this
It's
stuff is so
so
good.
weird, like. I'm pretty sure he's like 5 years younger than me, but I worship him like a
I
god.
mean, he has the god tier level like
His
illustration
art is
stuff.
so good. It's so good.
He actually did a signing at my local comic shop here in Western Mass once. So I have a signed first issue of like the floppy for the
Mm.
first Headlopper arc, and then he also
He's super nice. I just got a couple of comics and asked him a couple of questions on camera last year and was able to get like a just impromptu interview out of nowhere. And he drew me an Agatha witch head on top of that for no charge, just
Oh,
because
that
I was like,
rules.
fuck
that
yeah,
rules.
thank you. So yeah, dude, I love that guy. He's awesome. Shout out to Andrew McLean.
Hell yeah. So we want to maybe do a round of plugs. Nabi, you want to give your plugs for where people can find you?
Yeah, catch me over on Twitch on Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, at the Knobbywood. I'm pretty much the Knobbywood on everything else, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all the good stuff. But I'm most active on Twitch and YouTube.
Awesome. Brett, you want to give your plugs?
GoblinToyForge.com. That's it. Gordon, what about you?
You can find me on Instagram at Vladimir the Badimir and here on YouTube for the DIY Toycasts. And until next time, thanks everyone. And Nabu, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Awesome.
Peace.